Show me something. Hello and welcome back to the Show Me Something podcast. I'm Will.
I'm Trevor.
And I'm Jacob.
And this week I showed the boys season 1 of Fargo, the FX anthology series that started airing in 2014.
Yes.
I want to say. Created by Noah Hawley, who has also done the FX show Legion. It's kind of a weird like X-Men spin-off type deal. Which
wasn't there a superhero documentary movie about that was also called Legion? Or was that called something else?
Chronicle?
Oh, Chronicle's what I'm thinking of, yeah.
Yeah. Chronicle's also good. Yeah, it came out in 2014. It is an anthology series. There are 4 seasons, the 4th of which is currently airing. It is loosely an adaptation of the 1996 Coen Brothers film of the same name. So what's up, boys? How we doing? Any housekeeping?
I don't think so. No, I think I'm all good on housekeeping. What about you, Trev?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm just, yep.
Right
I'm
on.
still just
Cool.
me.
Yeah. Oh,
Sweet.
you had a story though, Will, right?
Oh, yeah. I was a little bit late to our record, which isn't out of the ordinary. I'm usually the last one to pump in. But I did have a sort of an excuse today. I was coming in, setting my stuff up, and all of a sudden our front door opened and closed. And so I walked over to the door, said hello, and a lady was standing at the bottom of our stairs with a cat in her hands. And she said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm here for the Airbnb." And I said, "No, this is not an Airbnb. This is our apartment." And she said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I was told the door would be open and the door downstairs is locked." And I said, "Yep, sorry about that. I can't help you. We live here."
We live here.
She said, "Okay, bye," and she left. I do live on a second floor apartment. The downstairs is an Airbnb. So clearly there was a miscommunication between my landlady and this woman and her cat. But yeah, so that was a weird one. That's why I always keep the door locked.
Yeah.
Could have been weird if she came all the way up the stairs and saw us just chilling. Also, Maestro probably would not have been pleased. Yeah, that was a weird one. I also do have some quick housekeeping. As the resident console boy of the pod, I do feel the need to represent my undervalued associates. I did manage to secure a PS5 on launch day.
Nice.
Supposed to come in tomorrow. Hopefully, probably
Fingers
will realistically
crossed.
be middle of the week. But shout out to all my console people, of which there are probably none who listen to this.
You never know.
I'm outnumbered by a bunch of fucking PC boys, so
Hell yeah.
I get ruthlessly and relentlessly shamed for playing on a console. But you know, I gotta.
It's not
I gotta,
that
Man,
bad.
you
I
do
gotta
you.
rep.
You do you know?
I got to rep. You know, I got to rep.
Yeah.
Cool. So, I guess we could jump right in. Trevor, what did you think?
So I did like this. It was good. It was good. Martin Freeman is great in this. So Billy Bob Thornton's acting, I feel like, wavers throughout the whole thing. But overall, it's good. I feel like there's certain scenes where I think he's trying to be the weird guy, and it's just coming off as bad acting. But regardless, overall, I did enjoy the whole thing. It did keep me on my toes, especially with the thing about it being a true story, which we'll talk about in the spoiler section. Yeah, overall, I mean, I don't really have that much to say in the non-spoiler zone, other than I liked it. And what did I give it? I wrote my rating down. 8.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I would probably watch this again if I had somebody else to show it to. Yeah,
Cool.
good time.
Right on.
Dope.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was fucking awesome. The show was so fucking good. And I thought every single actor did a fantastic job. I thought Billy Bob Thornton was great. I loved to be afraid of his character. He was so menacing, and every scene that he was in, I was tense as shit. He was a scary motherfucker.
He was.
And there were so many characters that I loved. I cried during the show. I feel like any show that is able to move me like that, Game of Thrones was one of them when there was really sad and parts that I didn't see coming and stuff like that. I would cry sometimes during that. This is one of those shows where I was like, holy shit. I was like, man, I'm feeling right now. And we'll get into, I'll let you guys know what when those moments were, like when we dig into the spoilerino zone. But yeah, man, I loved it. I thought it was so good. And it's funny too, because like at first when I was watching the first 2 episodes, it was like a little bit after you guys were texting me like a week ago, and Trevor was like, oh, I already finished. And I was like, I don't know when the fuck I'm going to watch this show. And like, because my job schedule just changed again to now what it should be going forward. But I'm waking up super early, so I'm going to bed super early. And like I had watched 2 episodes and I had like kind of forced myself to watch them. So it like I wasn't in a good like mindset. I feel like, and I was like kind of bummed that I had to watch like an hour-long drama series. But holy shit, dude! After that first watch, like when I was watching the rest of the episodes, like 3 and on, dude, so good. And I love that it keeps with the vibe of like the movie, because I love the movie so much, and it has like such a similar feeling. Like they really did an excellent job, like the showrunners and everything, of keeping with that vibe, but not making it feel like they're straight up copying it. You know, it still feels like it's its own entity, which I really enjoy. But yeah, dude, I loved it. I'd probably give it like I was like really close to giving it a 10, but there's like one scene that I didn't like. So I'm like a 9.5, 9.75. I'm like super close to a 10 out of 10.
Damn. All right.
And we'll talk about the one scene that I felt should have been different, but yeah. So thank you, Will, for showing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. This was a good time.
Yeah, I had a feeling, I mean, based on, you know, obviously we know each other pretty well, and our sensibilities oftentimes diverge, as the podcast listeners will know, but I think that we all have kind of a common ground that can be found, and while it may be a little bit more rare based on what we've discussed on the pod, there's obviously a ton of stuff that we all are familiar with, that we love. So, yeah, I'm really glad you guys liked it. I agree. I think it's a wonderful show. The cast is incredible. I also am a huge fan of the movie, and I watched it as it came out. I've been watching, you know, I saw it originally as it aired, because I was very excited to see an adaptation, you know, cautiously optimistic but skeptical, because how could you possibly adapt a movie so impactful as Fargo and make it worthwhile? I think Hawley and his writing staff did an amazing job at, like Cobb mentioned, keeping it kind of distinct and unique, but still has a ton of echoes. And I mean, there are articles and YouTube videos that you can watch. There are so many parallels to the movie that are just like really, like, they're Easter eggs essentially. Because if you, I mean, even if you've seen the movie, sometimes they're hard to notice. But yeah, I love it. I think Allison Tolman. Oh, sorry, Trev, go ahead.
No, just real quick, I want to throw out, I never saw the movie. I've never seen the movie.
You've never seen the movie?
Yeah, you should watch it. I think you would dig it, especially after watching the first season.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah,
it's really good. It obviously stands on its own, but
just kind of like throwing it out as like, this is my opinion as someone who has never seen the movie.
Buscemi's great in that movie.
Incredible. And so is fucking William H. Macy and Frances McDormand. You know, they're all so good. That's a really good movie too. Yeah, it's amazing. I think the cast is incredible. I don't think there's a weak link. It's a very deep cast, like much deeper than it looks to be in the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
I like how they are able to constantly introduce new characters and still somehow not make it feel bloated. It's an incredibly well balanced show, despite having multiple plot lines throughout. It's dark.
Yeah, and there's also plot lines that like will finish like earlier in the show, like there'll be like a couple episode arc like in the middle, like with the supermarket guy and stuff like that. But go ahead, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's worth mentioning. I will say, for anyone who is curious, it's incredibly dark. There are some scenes of some real grisly violence. It's definitely not for everyone. It's very much a black comedy, you know, like it's so nihilistic. But there's also an incredible level of warmth, I think, in certain characters. Gus and Molly, obviously, specifically.
Oh my God, love them.
Yeah.
So I would definitely recommend it. I'm with Cobb. I don't think it's a perfect show, but I think it's one of the best shows of the last decade, easily. And it's a solid 9.5 for me. before we jump into spoilers, we have a few lists that we can run through.
Right.
But also before that, which I just thought of during both of your review sections, would you watch the second season?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And when I was looking it up on IMDb, like 2 of the top rated episodes are from the second season, so it makes me want to watch it even more.
Yeah, definitely, actually. Yeah, I definitely also would probably like. I think I'll watch the second season at some point. I did really enjoy this, and I do kind of like anthologies where,
yeah,
like it's not necessarily. I like a continuing story. Like that's my favorite thing. But I also love the fact that we're getting something different. Like this story has finished, and more than I like a continuing story is a story that actually finishes. So I'm excited to see another finished story, basically.
Yeah. My only thing with anthologies, though, is that they can be so hit or miss. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Like, you can have like fantastic episodes or seasons depending on how the anthology works, and then other ones that are like incredibly forgettable. Like, like in the original Twilight Zone, there's like so many like really fantastic episodes, and then there's ones that people just have no idea, like don't even talk about. Just so forgettable, you know.
Yeah, I will say, having seen everything, I'm a little bit behind on the newest season that's currently airing, but I've seen obviously season 2 and 3. Do either of you know what season 2 is about?
No.
Nope. Mm-mm. Don't want to know. I want to find out.
Oh, okay. I won't say it then.
Sorry. I just wanted to throw that. I can mute myself if you want me to.
No, I kind of want to go in surprised as well.
That's okay, cool. That's never mind. Cool.
Sorry,
all right, so let's jump into.
No,
that's
off
fine.
Like that, but I want to make sure. Like, I don't want to know.
No.
I want to just
listen.
Find out.
King of spoilers. I completely respect your stance. Definitely watch season 2. I'll just say that. Season 3 is a little hit or miss for me, but season 2 is wonderful. Amazing cast. Shout out to Mike Milligan. Anyway, so as the resident list king, I do of course have a few lists that I would like to hear. Who were your favorite ancillary characters? And that is ancillary in terms of excluding Lester, Lauren Malvo, Gus, and Molly. So outside of those 4, who were your favorite characters?
You want to go, Trev?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go. Easy number 1, Molly's dad. He is great. He's a great character. He's a great dude. He's badass without being a badass, if that makes sense.
Trevor, that's going to be you when you're older, when you're a grandpa.
Dude, I would hope so. I want to be that. I want to be him when I get old. Like, he's really cool. He's got his diner, which is dope. But like his whole like backstory and everything, it's just, yeah, he was easily my favorite character. Every time he was on screen, I don't remember who plays him.
I'm not sure.
Oh, whoever plays him does a great job, and I feel like I've seen him in something else.
I'm sorry. Season 2 is about him as an adult, a young adult. That's all I'll say.
What the fuck?
He's the main character.
What the heck, man?
He's the main. I can't. That's too perfect, dude. It makes it. You have to watch it even more.
Imagine
now.
my mind blow if I went into it not knowing that.
I can't.
Though.
I'm sorry. That's all I'll say.
I'm not
funny.
I'm not watching it now. I'm not watching it.
I'm gonna watch it for sure.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm definitely gonna watch it. I just wanted to make Will feel bad, Jacob.
I'm sorry. I know. I do feel bad, but that's a perfect
funny.
setup. Like I can't even script that would be.
Sorry, audience.
Yeah, sorry guys.
It's okay. And then Key and Peele's characters, I did really enjoy
Pepper
them.
and Budge. Yeah.
They felt a little out of place at first, if that makes sense. Just because, it's Key. Like, everyone else, I feel like you can get them into the characters, and then it's like,
yeah,
that's Key and Peele. What are Key and Peele doing outside of that building? It was a little out of place, but they were really good characters, and I did enjoy their plot line and everything. And then I didn't really have, I guess those would be my 2 and 3, because I didn't really have another third one. Like, everyone is really great in their own ways, I guess, it's just, yeah.
Yeah, right on, dude. My list also starts with Molly's dad.
Hell yeah, dude.
He's so great, man.
He's amazing.
Loved him so much. Every time he was on screen, he's such a good guy. you know?
Yeah.
Like throughout all this craziness, he's a dad that owns a freaking diner, a little coffee shop, you know? But yeah, and he also has backstory, which is nice too. You get a little bit of it in this, and I guess we'll get to see it in season 2.
I guess we will. Friggin'.
But like the stuff that he does for his family is really great, which we'll get into in the spoiler zone. But yeah, so he's number 1. He was the easy number 1 when you gave me the stipulation of not including the other people. And then number 2 was I don't know what his name is. I think on IMDb it said Mr. Hammer or something like that. But
Mr. Wrench. Mr. Wrench.
Mr. Wrench, yeah. The deaf assassin guy.
Oh, yeah,
he was
cool.
great. He was great. It was
Amazing.
That's such an interesting twist on just an assassin drone, is to make him like a character that like throughout it we see him like have like actual emotion towards his partner and things that they're doing, and having like feelings of worth and not being heard, and then also just him having like this disability of being deaf, and like seeing 2 actors like actually signed to each other in a TV show. I feel like you just don't see it very often. And then number 3 was also because he had awesome fucking facial hair. His lamb chops were sick.
His chops were great.
It was
also amazing jacket. His jacket.
The jacket was great.
The tassel jacket. Yeah.
And then number 3, well, I also don't want to leave out with his assassin partner was good too, but
Mr. Numbers.
Yeah, but not as good as the other guy. But then number 3 is the pairing of Key and Peele. I thought they were great. I definitely understand where you're coming from, Trev, and I felt that at first when they were there.
Yeah.
When you kind of first see him in that first scene, but I like the path that they take those characters.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're still unique in the show, even though it's like every time you see those 2 guys together, just because they are a comedy duo, you know, it's like hard to at first be immersed, but they were still great. And then a little bit of honorable mentions. Bob Odenkirk. At first, I was really like pissed off at his character. I was so frustrated. But towards the end, you really like feel. At least I really felt for him. And then the other honorable mention is the other chief in the beginning.
He was good.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just kind of easy to forget him because he is around for he's a great character, but he's gone so fast. Wait, that's a spoiler.
No, you didn't say anything, brother.
I got a real quick run back on my 3rd favorite character. I just realized.
Yeah, go for it.
Gus's daughter.
Yeah, she's really good too. I wanted to honorable mention her as well, but I felt like I had too many.
Like, I was thinking about, while you were going through your list, I was thinking about my favorite moments with Molly's dad. And one of the things that really cemented it was him sitting on the front porch with the shotgun because he knows shit can go down. And then her coming out there with the BB gun.
We're starting to step into spoilerinos.
A little bit. But whatever. Regardless,
it's vague. It's vague enough.
Their interactions with each other. I mean, you can bleep
good.
that, I guess, if you feel like it's too much.
No, it's
but,
fine. It's fine.
Yeah, their interaction, like Molly's dad and Gus's daughter, I can't remember their names, with each other. It was such great interactions.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I loved it.
Chemistry.
So, yeah,
felt real.
she becomes my 3rd favorite character. There we go.
Yeah.
Word. So for me, number 1 is Mr. Numbers and Mr. Wrench together. It's really hard for me to separate them because while they do, of course, have moments by themselves, they're just such an amazing dynamic pair. Yeah. Every single scene they have is wonderful. I love their first scene. They're introduced in the 2nd episode. They get like kind of the cold open essentially. It's really great. Number 2, I would probably say Bill, the sheriff who replaces Vern, just because he is so incredibly frustrating, but he's also really funny. And just like his utter refusal to take all the information that Molly has gathered and like just look at it logically is like impressive. It's impressive how stubborn he is about it. And then number 3, I mean, I could go with Lou, Molly's dad. I could go with Key and Peele. It's kind of a toss-up. Honestly, the characters are all so great. I have a hard time making a list. I was also going to say honorable mention for Vern. I think it's really Vern, the sheriff, the original sheriff. It's really incredible how much he does in the time that he has. He's so warm and thoughtful and like evidently good at his job, and is also like a great husband. Like there's like a lot of really wonderful scenes with him. We'll talk about it a bit more in the spoiler zone, but he was phenomenal, and I wish he was in the show more than he is. Cool. That's list 1. List 2, briefly, much less structured than that one. Favorite detective and or cop shows. Do either of you want to grab one first?
Sure. I basically can only think of one. I have another one that I saw a little bit of that was pretty all right. My number one and favorite is Psych. I absolutely love that show. I have seen it all the way through at least twice. It's just hilarious. And
I'm sorry, what show did you say? You broke up a little bit.
Oh, sorry, Psych.
Oh, Psych.
I was just gonna nod along.
I was gonna try to piece it together, and I was like, all right, he's not saying much.
Sorry, for some reason my connection, I guess, isn't super great today, because you guys have been fine on my end, but I guess my outgoing's not doing great.
I've heard good things about Psych. My college roommate loves it, and Riss loves it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Have you seen? Okay, well, maybe.
That's a 20-epper. That's a 20-epper.
You're gonna show us that? Sure. Isn't that just like it's just a fucking like USA or like TBS drama, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's one of my. It's not even a drama. It's a comedy.
Oh,
comedy drama.
Don't show it to me after this one, because I might shit on it.
I mean, it's nothing compared to this. I'm not but it's a totally different vibe. But Sean and Gus are great in that show.
Dude, all I can think of it is just like vanilla like billboards and like seeing it just like at a dentist office. I can't.
No, it's so good.
Will left.
He's gone.
But I believe you, because I think my sister was watching it for a long time too.
Mm-hmm. Me and my mom watched the whole thing through and through a long time ago. And then I'll see it sporadically on TV every now and then. Like different channels have picked it up on syndication and whatnot. But great show. The other one only one I could think of. I'm sure maybe you guys going through your list will remind me of other shows that I liked. But the only other show I could think of was Lie to Me.
What the hell is that? I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is.
It's about
the guy that played Abomination in one of the Hulk movies.
That means
Tim Roth.
Is that his name?
Tim Roth?
Yeah.
Really?
Maybe.
Holy shit.
He stars in it, and he's like this British dude who is basically a human lie detector. Like he reads the facial fissure.
Classic.
Gosh.
That's fucking classic Cable right there.
Yeah, he reads facial features and whatnot.
I can tell.
And stuff. And he solves... Wait. Did I just think of another show?
I solve crimes.
Oh, I guess Sherlock, actually.
Oh, I've heard real good things about that.
With Benedict Cumberbatch.
Say Cumberbatch?
Yeah, I said Benedict Cumberbatch. Sherlock was really good. Actually, I put that above Lie to Me.
Aren't they like super long episodes too? They're like hour and a half long.
Oh, very long. Yeah. But it's a great show.
They're like they're 3-episode seasons. They do it weird over there in England.
I heard it fell off real hard at one point, but
I
don't want to get too spoilery. I know the spoiler, but I don't want to.
After one of the seasons was over and like some stuff, like big stuff happened that they feel like they were like winding back, I was like, all right, I don't really care anymore.
Yeah.
But that was fine. Oh, and then I guess iZombie. I just thought of another one. iZombie was all right. Jeez. Season 1 was pretty good. Screw Lie to Me. Get rid of that one.
Dang.
Psych. Sherlock.
Eli Roth.
I didn't watch that
Tim
much
Roth.
of it. I just...
Oh, sorry, Tim Roth. That
so
makes
Psych,
me less happy.
Sherlock, and then iZombie. Which...
Weird.
iZombie's a weird one anyways, but... Yeah, there we go.
Right on.
Cool.
I'm going to think of something else. But
I have one show to mention. Just True Detective Season 1.
Yep.
And
Never
just
seen
because it's so fucking fantastic. It's just...
Yeah.
it's just so good. Like it's excellently done. I think you'd like it, Trevor. If
It's
you
really
ever
good.
get the chance to watch it.
Okay.
Really, you don't need I mean, I haven't seen this third season. I think it was supposed to be better than the second, but the first season is fantastic. Matthew McConaughey is excellent, and Woody Harrelson, so good.
Yeah, and the second season is the complete opposite in every facet in terms of
Vaughn is classic in it.
No, he's not.
But yeah, it did fall off, which is a shame. But what can you do? Third season, maybe it's
You could
good.
make a better.
Haven't seen
You could
it.
make a better show. That's what you could do.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying about anthologies. It's like
Yeah,
it's tough.
it's hit or miss.
But that was the only one I could think of. The only other show I could think of is like I don't even really want to count it. It's like Criminal Minds I used to watch when I was younger in like high school, and there was a lot of really good episodes and story arcs. But I haven't watched it recent enough for me to be like, oh, that's still a good show.
That's
So
fair.
that's honorable mention. Criminal Minds.
Cool. True Detective season 1 was my obvious one as well.
Nice.
I think to round out the informal list, I would say The Wire.
Haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's more of a police show, but they are. I mean, technically,
I'll
the main
count it.
character, McNulty, is a detective. But it's less of a mystery and more of just like a sprawling story
Police
about
show.
Baltimore. Yeah, very good. And then I would also like to shout out Broadchurch, probably lesser known. It was remade in America for Fox, and I think it was fucking terrible. But it's a BBC show from maybe 5 or 6 years ago with David Tennant and Olivia Colman.
Love David Tennant.
Both of whom have had really storied careers and have gone on to do a lot of really awesome things since then. That show is an absolute fucking gut punch of a show, but it is so good. It is beautiful. The two main characters are incredible. The acting is very good. It's a suspenseful mystery. My dad and I watched that together before I moved down to Florida. That show slaps.
Nice.
All right, anyway, that's a long-ass intro before we hit the spoiler zone. Oh, sorry, Trev. Please go ahead.
I thought one more honorable mention for my list because I had to. Psycho Pass, which is an anime. It's technically a crime show.
That's
How long
how
did
I
it go?
wanted your list to go.
How long do we go before our first anime reference?
Not that long.
Should've been sooner.
Like 30 minutes about.
That's solid, Trev. I'm
Little less.
proud of you. I've heard Psycho Pass
shut
is
up.
dope. I think I've actually
So, like-
I've watched maybe the first season or the first episode. Sorry, not season, episode. I
it's
remember the basic premise. There's like a gun, and it like checks your how psychotic you are or some shit like that, or how much of a murderer you are.
There's a whole it's dystopian future, basically like the
Yeah.
Chinese social points, except it measures like your brain activity to be like, are you gonna commit crimes? Yeah,
Right.
probably. All right, we're just gonna kill you now.
Yeah.
kind
It's
of
pretty wild.
Minority Report ish in that way,
Interesting.
but not quite. It's very, very interesting, and I really enjoyed it.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, I've heard great things.
It's on the list of things to show you guys.
Right
Cool.
on.
All right, dope. Let's jump in. I have a bunch of questions based on the things that you guys have said. So, if you don't mind, I kind of want to just
Yeah,
get
dude,
those
let's
off.
run
Yeah, go.
off.
Official
Cobb,
spoilers.
what made you cry?
Oh yeah, sorry. Spoiler zone, guys.
Spoiler
Just
zone.
want to announce.
Kind of already has been, but officially now.
No, it wasn't that.
It's
hard.
been pretty vague.
So, any of the scenes, basically almost every single scene, where the original chief is with his wife, or just when the wife is around anymore, just like every time, it's like because they're too wholesome, and then so since we're in the spoiler zone, he dies in the second episode.
First
It's
episode.
just.
First
Oh, was it the
episode.
first episode? Okay.
It's right at the end of the first episode, yeah.
Right, gotcha. Sorry, I watched them back to back, so.
Yeah.
Also, it's a long ass episode, so it feels like a second episode, honestly.
Yeah, it was
by
like
the
an
time it
hour and
rolls
10
around.
minutes, I think.
Yeah. Pilot,
Around
dude.
there. But yeah, any of their scenes, like when Molly went to the house to like go after he had died, after she had left the crime scene and went to his wife's house.
Yeah.
It's super sad. When Molly goes back to the hospital after the old chief's wife has the baby, is super sad. And then also the point when Molly's dad was like basically like in full protection mode of his family and was talking to Molly and then was like, screw it, I'm going to protect my granddaughter. And then you see him on the porch, dude. I fucking had the tears going. I'm like, this is fucking Trevor style. In my notes, I wrote it down as Trevor style. I'm like,
thanks. I
That's
appreciate
legit.
that a lot, actually.
because I know that would
Lou
be
does
you,
have
Trevor.
big Trevor energy. Yeah, that's a very very. Real
Trevor's a very wholesome person. I know we rag on him a lot in the show, and I interrupt him constantly, which I apologize. But Trevor's a great guy, and I know he would do that with his first family.
Yeah,
I feel so.
But it was just like, man,
aw.
I was like, oh god, man, I can't take it. It's too nice, and I love these characters too much. I'm like, the daughter is fucking great, and then when she came out with her BB gun, I was crying again.
God damn it, that makes me so happy. Yeah,
But
Lou
yeah,
is
those
fucking,
were the points.
Lou's so good.
I'm touched right now. Like I'm
Which
legitimately like feeling touched at this. Like, oh,
Nice.
I mean,
God, love
Trev,
you, brother.
you're like hands down one of the sweetest people I've ever met. You know, like it's not hyperbole.
Wow.
Like, you're an absolute sweetheart. Yeah, for sure.
You are. You're a sweet
so
guy,
big,
Trevor.
big
Damn.
Solverson energy for sure.
guys are gonna get me choked up. Shit.
So
But yeah,
what?
that also
To-
is because of how much I love Molly, by the way.
Yeah.
I feel like Molly's scenes, that actress does such a fucking fantastic
Oh my
job.
God, she does.
She's able to carry so
She's so
well.
good.
Like,
Fuck, I forgot. I'm sorry, Cobb. Go ahead.
No, go.
I forgot to ask, of the 4 that I excluded from your favorite, who was your favorite?
Molly. For sure.
Yeah, Molly.
Yeah,
And
I think
then,
it's hard.
I
It's
mean,
hard not to say
Malvo,
Molly.
because I love to hate him.
Well,
like,
because
real
the
bastard.
other two, like the other characters. Wait, who did we exclude? Gus
Molly,
is great,
Malvo,
but
Gus, and Lester.
Gus is a good guy. Gus is a really
Yeah.
good
Gus
guy.
is a good guy, but I like even if he was included, I don't think he would have been in my top list.
I mean, I liked
Yeah.
him a lot, and I feel for him. I like that he really didn't want to be a police officer.
No,
like he
I-
wanted to be a mailman, and he becomes a mailman in the
Yeah.
time gap, the time jump. But
Which makes sense. Of course, he
he's
was
just
going to get
such a
fired.
nice guy. He's like, he really just cares about his daughter, and then when he meets Molly, and they have that little connection.
Yeah.
Oh man. So good, dude.
It's the
I'm
best.
like these two. This is like some Jim and Pam shit. I'm like, these
Yeah.
motherfuckers are great.
They're perfect. Yeah,
They're
I love.
so great together.
I love when Molly is trying to figure out like what would possibly drive Gus to let Malvo drive away in that scenario, and then like his daughter walks in, and you just see it on her face, like, oh, of course, like this is why,
Yeah.
because you know there's so
as a
many
kid.
unbelievable moments in this show,
Yeah.
and I think just for the sake of closure, I would also say Molly is my favorite. I think Lorne Malvo is just fascinating in like the Anton Chigurh, No Country for Old Men mold. You know, he's just like
Yeah,
absolutely
for sure.
horrifying.
Big vibes.
And you don't want to watch him really because you're scared of what he'll do, but he's so compelling. He's easy number 2, and Gus is number 3 because fuck Lester.
Dude, Lester's such a cunt.
He's
I'm sorry, I
one
know I
of-
shouldn't say the C word on the
is,
pod,
though.
but dude.
Yeah, he is one of the most despicable characters that I've ever seen, honestly.
Yeah.
What a horrible person. Like,
He
Like,
is fucking horrible.
I felt a little bit bad for him, like when the show first started, you know, and I'm like, man,
Yeah.
he's just beat down, downtrodden. I'm like, man, this guy, I feel kind of bad for him. And then when he kills his wife or whatever, I'm like, you shouldn't have done that, but at least I kind of understand, like the sympathetic villain kind of angle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like, I
Yeah.
see why you did it. You shouldn't have done that, and I don't agree that you did it, but I see why you did it.
yeah. It's just like...
And then he just slowly progresses down the rabbit hole of, nah, screw you, man. You suck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, he takes these missteps that you wouldn't see in a normal person. Like, he's clearly a psychopath. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
when you're in these situations, like in the beginning, he's this person who's constantly made fun of basically by people that he loves and by just bullies. He's
Yeah.
constantly picked on basically, even by his own wife. But like, man, when you're in those situations, you can stand up for yourself or like leave your wife, but you don't kill someone. Like, That's not the step you take. You don't, and you also don't egg someone else on to kill someone, or like leave it vague enough to be like, oh, this insane person is gonna go kill my bully for me. Like,
Yeah.
That was
it's just
wild.
This guy, and then he just deep dives into being a douchebag. Like he just becomes the biggest douchebag on earth.
So should we talk like broadly about Lester, or should we talk broadly about Malvo?
I feel
We're
like
on
let's
Lester
keep
right
going
now.
with
Let's keep
Lester,
going.
and then we'll go to Malvo.
Okay, so what's the worst thing you think Lester did?
Friggin' sending his wife in, his new wife,
That
with
was
his
fucked.
jacket to get murdered, and he didn't seem to care really.
No,
He didn't care at all.
His expression was, "Damn, that could have been me," and not,
well, because
"Oh,
he
my
knew
wife
exactly
is now
what was
dead."
going to happen. He knew
Yeah,
that was going to happen.
He knew exactly.
Like
he
sent
told her to put her
for
hood
that to
up.
happen.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "Hey, I don't want you to be cold. Put the hood up.
Put your
so they
hood up."
can't see your face when they blow your fucking
And
head
she
off."
was so. To be fair, she should. I don't understand why she got with Lester, because
She is an interesting character.
like
Yeah.
she starts hitting on him. In earnest, that we see at least her hitting on him was right before and after his bully's wife,
Yeah.
like his dead bully's wife,
And
comes
he
in.
staples
and
the
talks
son's
about-
heads.
Dude.
Yeah, but like she literally
He
is
doesn't give a
talking
fuck.
about the fact that he extorted sex out of her
Yeah.
to like make
Yeah.
the insurance claim go along faster when he knew.
Yeah.
She heard it. She was right
Yeah.
there, and her. I expected that to be, well, that whole relationship now is ruined because,
No, she
She heard
dug
this.
it.
yeah, and she was,
She was like,
wow,
"He's a bad boy.
It's like,
He's a bad boy."
what?
Dude, but
Why
like,
are you?
she's a really interesting character to me for that reason, and because like, so after the whole Vegas thing, which we can talk
Yeah.
about more later as well.
Yeah, that was-
the
She
Vegas
covers
thing,
for him.
She covers for him when Molly
Yeah.
comes to talk about it because Vegas PD contacted her. So like, I don't understand. Is she like just cool with him being some sort of criminal? Because then she also brings up when they're in the car that she had always wished that his previous wife was dead because she always had a crush on him. So like, is
Yeah.
this bitch just like down for criminal activity? Like,
He should
it
have
seems
explored that
like she
before
is.
getting her killed. Honestly,
it's either
should-
that or she's really dumb. Like,
Yeah.
you know? Which I can't tell because of the way she talks a lot of the time. She makes it seem like she is like ditzy or whatever. Like when she's talking to the cop, she's like saying like shit like that. But like, I don't know, man. I think she's like really smart and like is down with him just being a criminal.
I think
Yeah.
if she didn't get murdered, they could have been like criminal masterminds together, or
like
something.
a Bonnie and Clyde type deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree that that's the obvious number one, but setting up his brother is insane.
Easy number two.
Putting the pistol in his nephew's backpack, insane.
Honestly, actually, I think that's the worst thing he did. I think that's worse than the wife. Because
The pistol in the backpack or his brother.
No, the setting up his brother as the murderer.
Yeah, absolutely horrible. And then like, oh man, he's just such a bastard. He's such a
He
bastard.
really is.
Like,
Nailing Hess's wife, like all these just terrible things.
and he did those things like to his brother and to the kid because he also knew that he was going to be able to get away with it that way because he knew the chief. He knew the chief well enough to believe that was the way that the case would go without question.
Right.
You know,
The chief
like
would,
he,
like, is
the chief
so
just went with it. He
gullible.
like ate up his story. Lester was telling him the story, and the chief was just like, "Oh fuck!" He's like, I
Yo,
can't
can we-
believe it, Lester.
Bob Odenkirk is so good in this show. I mean, like,
Really
we didn't
fantastic.
really mention it, but he
flip-flop.
was so good.
I flip flop so hard between loving him and hating him.
Well, you have to hate him. You have
I
to hate
hated
him.
him in
I
the
mean,
beginning.
he's so
I hated him so
hateable
much.
He-
because it's so
Took
obvious.
Molly's
such-
promotion in the beginning, and then he was
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah. He has such moments though where it's like he is trying. He's just an idiot
Yeah.
who
He's so
won't
dumb.
listen. And
Yeah.
so it's like I hate him for being an idiot, but he is genuinely a sweet trying his
Yeah.
dumbass best
Yeah.
to do what is right for the town and the people he believes in. But also, you're a chief of police. Everyone's a suspect.
Right.
Don't just write it off because it's a priest man. It's my guy I knew from high school who heard a fly.
I just feel
Like,
bad
what?
for him though, because like when he talks about it at the end, he like is talking like the man has PTSD. Like it really fucking sucks because you can see how wholesome of a person he is, where he really wants to believe the best in people and believe that people are being true and honest to him, but like he just has had these horrible things not happen to him directly, but he's seen these horrible things happen to other people, and it's just made him like kind of
he just can't handle it.
He can't handle it at all, and his wife sees it. Like, it's really sad. It's very, very sad.
Yeah. I love the character bit that he gets sick at blood. That's like some good comedic relief every time that happens. Just like the classic like Minnesotan, like, oh no, like I'm not gonna do the accent because I'll butcher it, but he's got a lot of great bits. Yeah, I mean Lester does a lot of despicable shit, but I think it's got to be between his new wife and his family. So in terms of Lauren Malvo,
wait, real quick, before we go off of Lester, how did you guys feel about the end of him though?
Perfect.
Because I was kind of disappointed.
Oh really?
Oh really?
Yeah.
No,
I think
cool
that.
with it.
I think it's perfect. I mean, the entire time he's been telling all these lies, and for him to literally end up on thin ice, I mean, it's like, it's obvious, but it is also a good metaphor for where he was.
So
and
good.
He deserves to fucking drown in freezing water. Like that's one of the worst ways to die, probably.
No, in my opinion, I think he deserved worse. I think he deserved a lot worse.
He deserves the worst. Yeah, that's fair. I think,
like, I'm all for as like a terrible character. Like, I'm not the type of people that's like, oh, this awful person did awful things. Don't kill them. Put them in prison for the rest of their lives. I think legitimately prison for the rest of his life would have been worse than death for that character specifically. Because he can't handle, like, he couldn't handle any time he was about to get caught. So the idea of him having to live with the fact that everyone knows that he is a horrible piece of shit is great. And I like the idea, I guess, more of, I don't know, there's a lot of other ways I feel like it could have been a slightly more satisfying, but also I think it did fit with the tone of the show.
Yeah.
To have it not be the most satisfying of an end.
Yeah, I think that's true.
But like him confronting, like a last confrontation with Molly.
Yeah.
Or
their
something
scenes are
where
so good.
They're so good together, but like I almost feel disappointed for Molly in the sense that she doesn't get that last little bit. She gets a phone call that states he fell through ice and is probably dead. Yeah. And then she has to go, I guess, let me know what the divers find. And then moves on. And it's like, I wanted that last little, like, I knew it. Yeah. I got you from the get-go, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, like, that's a really good point, and I think that we haven't touched on yet, is that I'm curious to know, like, I don't think it's an unsatisfying ending. I think the ending of the show is pretty solid. However, it's tough. It's tough not to feel a little bummed out that Molly doesn't get like the ultimate satisfaction. I do.
That's where I think my dissatisfaction comes from.
Yeah, I do think that Gus does kind of deserve to get the kill, given that he's the first person to have an interaction with. He's the first good person to have an interaction with Malvo, and obviously Molly gets the moment where she hears the cassette tapes that Malvo has of Lester confessing to the murder of his wife, which is it's like that's the moment of like, oh my god, I was right this whole time, and like here's my proof. It does suck that she didn't get to like fucking rub it in his face, because she definitely deserved that. But that reminds me, Cobb, you said there was one scene that holds it back from being a 10. I'm curious what that scene is before we talk about Lauren Malvo.
So it for me was in Key and Peele's first scene where the crime syndicate massacre happens. I didn't like that they took, from what I see as the budgetary stance of staying outside of the building the entire time and tracked along the windows in like this kind of, it didn't look good to me. Like it did not look great to me.
It looked trash.
I wanted there to be a hard-boiled style shootout, basically. But I get that FX isn't like... I mean, FX comes out with really good shows, but it's not HBO exactly. It's not AMC, where like they come out, they have like a few shows, but they're like fucking good. So like that's where I'm at. Like it was really unsatisfying to me. I was just like, man, that sucks. I don't want to just listen to this happen. I want to see a crazy shootout.
Yeah, I want to see Lorne Malvo be Terminator.
Yeah, it took me out of it a little bit because I'm like and I forget what else there was. There was one other thing that looked really low budget to me, but it wasn't a full scene. It was an effect. But anyway,
the street fight in the blizzard with Mr. Numbers, Mr. Wrench?
But I was thinking about a different one. But that did look weird. The effect of the whiteout looked not great. But
it's hard. It's probably hard to get on film and have it look legit, especially on maybe a TV like season 1 budget, not like a Game of Thrones season 6 budget. But
for sure. But
that's
that
definitely
scene
the
I
moment
was like should have been done better.
Yeah. So I guess that kind of leads us into Malvo pretty well. There's a lot of really interesting writing and theorizing online about Lorne Malvo. He is like what he's doing like isn't even his job. Like he's just like on the way to another job. Like he gets in a car accident and the naked man gets away from him out of his trunk, and then he ends up in the hospital because he is injured, and then kind of takes this little detour. I mean, he has a phone call with his boss. He's, I guess, like a fixer. We don't really know for who or in what capacity, but we do get a little bit of interaction with his actual employer later on in the show.
Yeah.
But he is essentially they're in Bemidji, right?
Yeah, Bemidji.
Yeah.
So he's essentially in Bemidji to cause chaos. There's a lot of talk, speculation.
Bemidji and Duluth.
Yeah, Duluth, right. There's a lot of speculation that he is supposed to be the devil. I think that plays into a lot of the biblical shit that he gets into with Stavros, the supermarket king. There, and then the other main... Yeah, that's a great thread that we literally haven't even talked about. It's pretty ancillary, but I do think there's some good moments there that I'll at least mention if they don't get mentioned by either of y'all.
They also mentioned like throughout, or at least a couple of times, I think Molly mentions it, that he's like not even a man. He's like, he's like supernatural basically. It's like, this is not a person. This guy's fucking just pure evil.
He's pure evil, and he shows that many times. I also the other thing, and I think this one has a little bit more of a link to reality, or at least in terms of like what the showrunner like wanted to happen. But he basically comes to town, and his like hobby is trying to see if he can make people bad, essentially. And like return people to their animalistic nature. I mean, he has that whole conversation with Lester in the hospital about, not letting people push you around. His question to Gus when he's pretending to be a minister after Gus arrests him the second time he encounters him. He's like, why do we see so many shades of green? And then
because then he also does the thing about the bear gnawing his leg off, right?
That's to Mr. Wrench, and when Mr. Wrench is in the hospital. Yeah. And then that's obviously foreshadowing of him getting stuck in a bear trap, which is amazing.
Was great.
Which was cool. Also,
great
the
scene,
kid
by the way.
in the parking lot at the hotel.
Terrible.
Like, that was like a 5-second.
He didn't get fired though.
Yeah, didn't get fired. He just comes into town like a fucking whirlwind of evil, and it's but sorry, he there's like a lot of animal symbolism in this show. He and the wolf are like the really obvious ones, but I think that's it's evidenced really well by that question he asks Gus about why do we see so many shades of green. And I love that Gus can't figure it out and like says it to Molly and she knows immediately like it's just because predators, you know.
Yeah.
Molly is so fucking good. I mean, she's just
Molly
so
is
fucking
great.
good.
Fantastic
Anyway,
character.
so Malvo. I mean, we could do what are the worst things he does. What scenes that you like. He's a crazy layered character. In terms of
I feel
in
like
terms of the
it's
shit
tough
that goes on.
to pin
me-
him down a lot for me. Yeah, go ahead, Trevor.
The thing that stands out the most, other than his initial interactions and the recordings and all that, which is great character building because he obviously has some sort of mental issue, is his long con
Mental
issue
being a demon.
in what was we find in what episode? What like not or episode? Yeah, episode 9, I guess, is when we see it really, where
Of him being the
he's, like,
dentist?
him being the dentist and
shit
getting
was crazy.
engaged and making real good friends with this guy, and the whole time you're just wondering, what did he go straight or something? Like, did he get out of the game?
That's what
And
I
then
thought.
the moment the other guy talks about, oh, my brother in witness protection, and you're like, okay,
Fuck.
yeah, this is a real long con that this guy's been playing
Yeah.
for 6 months. And it's like crazy that he is able to just build these relationships for
Yeah,
this
man.
hit.
Aces,
and then
am
Lester
I right?
asks him, like, pushes just a little bit. Like, it would have been so easy for him to have just ignored Lester
Yeah.
and gone
tried
on
to.
with this hit. So simple. And he's just like, all right, boom, boom, shoots the 3 people and is done. And he's
Yeah.
like, all right, time to just murder Lester. Like,
Yeah.
what?
He asked Lester though if that's what he wanted.
Is
Lester
this what
knew
you
what he
want?
was getting into. Lester
Lester,
knew what he
is
was
this
getting
what
Which
you
was
into.
a
want?
great...
Yeah.
Also, Lester should have walked away from that. Like, why is he going...
But he wasn't that kind of person anymore. That's like the whole thing, is that he's like morphed
Yeah.
into
But
this
it's
like
not-
mini version of him. Like,
He
But it's not
gels
like
his
he's
hair. He wears suits.
yeah, he's a
but it's not like
douchebag now. He
Mo-
cheats on his wife.
It's not like Marvo is even... Laura? Whatever.
Malvo.
Malvo is even goading him on or
Yeah.
anything.
But he's trained
No.
him basically, like into
He
thinking.
hasn't,
this way.
though. He had 2 conversations with the man.
I know, but like,
And look
it's
what
these
happened.
Impactful things, you know.
Yeah.
Regardless,
He's
it was
basically
not
taught
enough.
him to stand up for himself in the way of being an animal.
Yeah.
Lester ruined his whole life. That he could have gotten away with it all for the rest of his life.
For sure.
Yep.
Until Malvo got caught by somebody else
Yep.
one day.
But he couldn't
probably.
control himself.
He
you know?
couldn't, I guess, because he could have just been done, been happy in his weird psychotic way.
Yeah.
And then, but like, sorry, we're talking about Malvo more than anything. The fact that he just gave up on that whole bounty real quick was just such an interesting moment of just,
Yeah.
all right, bang, 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 help me move the
Yeah.
bodies.
Yeah.
Also, shout out whatever his friend's name. I don't know what the actor's name is, but
Yeah.
when Malvo is a dentist, his friend who's in Barry, shout out
Yeah.
that guy.
Yeah,
Fuck
he's great.
yeah.
That's what I
Because
immediately
Barry's
go
a
from
great
Barry.
show. Also, a
Barry is
rec
a
Shout
great
out to
from Will.
fucking Barry. You're welcome.
That's a recommendation pre-show me something that I watched
yeah.
both
That was
seasons
that was a cognizant. I was like, Cobb,
Yeah.
you got to watch Barry, dude.
That's a great show. I need to watch
Yeah,
season 2 of that.
of. Very
It's really
good.
fucking
It's
good.
excellent.
It has one of the best episodes of the entire show that Bill Hader
Oh,
directs.
really? In season 2?
Yeah.
Damn.
Is it the
okay.
one where
The-
he does his acting?
No, it's the one where there's a young girl who
Yeah,
is like
okay,
a
yeah.
It's like a 30-minute fight scene essentially.
Yeah.
The just touching on the elevator scene real quick. I love
Will, I just noticed Trev took his headphones off for that.
good
We
man.
didn't even spoiler anything. We didn't even
Yeah,
spoiler
but
Reno, bro.
He
I
can't
didn't
trust
know.
me now.
I wanted.
That's
he can't.
true.
He
Will
can't
can't
I
trust me
can't
now.
trust you.
It was worth it though. That's good podcasting. Anyway, so the
Now
moment
that's
when
podcasting.
a visual gag on an audio only podcast. It's great.
What
It's
does
quality.
Lester do to get himself away from Lorne Malvo in the elevator? He like hits him with something.
He hits him
He
with
hits him with the
award.
But
Okay.
also,
Does he-
Malvo could have still shot him. He just chose not to.
He
I
didn't
just
want
well no, because he's like, I'll see you soon, Lester.
It's a game.
I love that moment.
That is a good one.
Yeah. So okay, I'm a little bit all over the place here. We're jumping. There's just so much to talk about. I feel like this show is so.
I know, and I feel like we've already used so much time.
We
I know
watched
it's
basically,
horrible.
What, like 10 movies more or less?
Basically,
Oh,
yeah.
it's 10 hours.
Like-
Yeah, it's 10 hours. I finished this on Tuesday night. We're recording this on a Sunday. I was incredibly close to watching it a second time all the way through. That's how much
Yeah.
I love
I
this
would
show and
definitely
feel
do it.
like it deserves a rewatch. It's just so fucking good.
There's so
Yeah.
much. I have 3 pages front and back of notes for this.
Yeah.
I have a bunch
Of which I am using none of. But
I haven't used
still
any of
took
mine
them.
either. I have a ton on my phone. I haven't even looked at them.
Episode 1 has a whole page. Look at this. I have a
It's
whole
a
page
really-
just for episode 1.
It's a really incredible pilot. It's a really, really incredible pilot. Did I mention the scene between Vern and Lester when we brought up Vern? When Vern comes to his
Oh.
house and finds out that he killed his wife, that conversation is so fucking good. Like,
It is.
Lester's like so jumpy, and Vern is just like trying to figure it out, and like clearly is like suspicious. But then the cuckoo
Oh, yeah.
clock goes off, and Lester like jumps, and he's like, "You're kind of squirrely there, Lester. Like, you okay?" And then sees the blood and yada yada. It sucks that we didn't get to see more of Vern. He was so fucking good.
Yeah.
It
Also,
was great.
I don't think we've said enough about Martin Freeman's performance as Lester. It is
So good.
It is
Really excellent
so,
performance.
So good. He is
so good.
such. I mean, like, just the way that he can portray fear and anger and ego, and the way he lies, and the way he like psychs
anxious.
himself up alone, the anxiety. Also, that fucking shotgun pellet wound is so disgusting.
That's also a great arc.
Yeah, great
shot-
How
arc.
did they
Shotgun
not
arc.
find that when he was in the hospital originally? How was that not
Yeah.
found?
Don't
I-
know.
In the
mean,
hospital, hiding it? Like what?
No, but I believe that this hospital just has the worst nurses, doctors, and security ever in the world.
He fucking
Yeah,
dressed
like,
up
so
as
much
his,
shit
as his room. He put his fucking when he wrapped his
Yeah.
face up and just like moved.
That was the great escape, dude. The great
God.
escape.
That's so wild.
But
ahead,
yeah,
Tom.
his performance is like fucking incredible. Like that, it's really like watching like the true art of an actor. Like,
yeah,
I can't even imagine being that talented and being able to portray slight emotions like that and being able
No.
to show an evolution. And for a television show, which I'm sure a lot of it was not even shot like in a linear style, so you're having to
Yeah.
go all over the place with your acting performance. It
Yeah.
just really, really great work. Really, really great
Yeah.
work.
Fantastic.
he's
honestly,
he's amazing.
he won some awards, right, for this?
I
hope
don't
so.
know. I mean, they should have
I'm
won
pretty sure
everything.
Yeah,
I
they
think
should have
he-
swept.
I think he won a couple of awards for this show.
He should have. I mean, I think he could easily justify. You could justify Allison Tolman. I think Billy Bob is wonderful too, and obviously,
I think so, too.
I'm a huge
He
Colin
is
Hanks
great.
guy. Gus Grimley, he's like a very simple character, but he's really good at what he does.
He did a good job. Yeah.
Just circling back to Malvo real quick, because there's some other shit that I want to touch on, and I'm sure we're already kind of going long, but it's tough.
No,
Yeah.
we're fine.
Malvo setting up the tanning guy. That's
Dude,
it is one
shout
of
out
the
Glenn Howerton.
yeah.
I was like,
He's from
holy
Always
fuck.
Sunny
Yeah, he's from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
I
Dude,
didn't know
I
that.
don't-
until yesterday
Yeah.
that it was him.
You don't get to see those actors a lot in other things. So whenever
Yeah.
I see Glenn Howerton or Charlie Day or whoever it is,
Yeah.
in another thing, it's just like, man, there they are. I fucking love those guys.
Charlie Day and Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
Man, that's a movie I haven't fucking seen or thought about in years.
It's a great movie. Big robots, man.
That arc is so fucking devastating because of the way it ends.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like fun, like for the first like half maybe. It's just like, oh yeah, like Malvo's just like toying around with this like dopey motherfucker. But it is so brutal the way it ends. It is so fucking
God,
brutal. I mean, just horrible. It's really fucking horrible.
Dude,
that made me
it's
feel
like-
real
it's-
bad.
It's like pure nightmare to be in that scenario.
Yeah.
Like, can you believe that? And then like
No.
when the cops kill him, they're like, oh, it must be a death by suicide type deal. It's like,
Right.
all right, now
was
they're not
it.
even gonna catch the guy that did it.
Yeah, the man's fucking duct taped to a workout bench with a
And
shotgun.
they blasted him like 1,000 times. They shot him.
It's so bad.
That should
dude.
not be like police suicide. That's like you look at that for a second, like this guy was set up. Jesus, he's
Yeah.
taped to a chair. Like what?
Or he
Yeah.
taped himself there because he didn't want himself to have second thoughts.
he taped
you
his
know?
own hands to a shotgun.
Wee.
He used his mouth, bro, and then taped his
Yeah.
mouth with his toes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. I also my other like the arc, the little. It's not an arc, but the scenes where Mr. Numbers and Mr. Wrench capture Lester, and they bring him out to the lake to like
Dude,
interrogate
that way of
him.
executing
I guess
is so brutal.
you said what?
I said that way of them executing people is so brutal
Oh,
because they
it's
did it to
horrible.
the
Yeah,
other
it
guy too, the random
Yeah.
person. It's
Just
like,
dump him in a fucking lake. Frozen
just
lake
get
is horrible.
fucked, nerd.
Yeah, but that
Wild.
whole scene that culminates in them all in the same prison cell together is so good. Like
It's great.
Lester getting away, using the cop, punching the cop in the nose to get himself a ride away.
Just like such a slight punch, like poof,
Yeah, it's
just
just
popped
like,
him a little bit,
Just a little pop.
just enough to be considered a punch.
And then he's like so happy, he's like in jail, and then they get into a bar fight, Numbers and Wrench, and they end up in the same cell. And the way that Numbers smiles when they show up in the
Yeah.
cell, and Lester is just like motherfucker, like. And then that scene, his acting is unbelievable too, because he's like fading in and out of consciousness, and they're pressing on his fucking shotgun pellet wounds. Yeah,
And he's like,
there's
I'm gonna
just-
throw up. Like, don't throw
There's
up.
just so-
I'm gonna throw up. I'm gonna.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you throw up, I'll kill you.
And then
Okay.
as soon as they leave the cell, he throws,
throws
up on
up.
the ground.
Oh,
Yeah. Although that reminds me, you do get the scene of Molly basically getting a confession out of him, even though he's in a fugue state because he's in stasis or shock or whatever the fuck
Yeah.
they said. He's septic.
But it's not. He doesn't quite say it, does he? All
He
he,
doesn't,
says is,
no.
"I didn't pay him."
Yeah, yeah. But
You know?
she's like,
Which,
this is enough.
You know
for
what he
her,
means.
You know?
Yeah, for her, not for Bob Odenkirk.
No, of course not. Bill.
damn.
The last
Ugh.
the last scene I want to mention, and then I would love to hear anything that you guys have had, because I've obviously railroaded this quite a bit, but as I always
No, you're
do.
good, man.
The scene between Lou and Malvo in the diner is one of the
I thought he was
is
gonna
one of
kill
the
him.
best scenes in the entire show, despite it just being two guys talking over a plate of cherry pie.
Well, he
It
had
is
apple
so apple pie, right? He said that nothing ever
because
good
no
came
good
cherry
comes
pie.
from
Yeah.
cherry pie. Which is a good job.
I like cherry pie. Is that a bad thing?
It is such a foreboding and tense and horrific scene, because you just know that he's gonna kill Lou right there. Like, it just feels that way, you know. It
Dude,
doesn't
I
happen,
thought
obviously.
he was gonna kill him. I
but
really did. I thought
It is such a dread. That scene it's just dripping with dread.
Yeah.
My thing
and
with
P-
that
and
scene,
the other guys
Oh.
come in right then. Sorry,
Yeah.
it's just like
Yeah.
the timing is so excellent. Go ahead, Trevor.
my thing with that scene is, I feel like there's no way that Molly never showed her dad, or he just never happened to see one of the many photos that she has of this guy. You know, of Marvo. Like, she has the
Malvo.
mugshot that they Malvo. Damn it. My notes all have him listed as Billy Bob because I couldn't remember his name.
My first couple of notes do the first couple of episodes.
Well, he's
I
not
honestly thought
named until like 3 or 4.
Yeah, until they
But I honestly, like, I was like, there's no way Lou doesn't recognize this guy or something. And then I'm glad that he did finally say
he
something.
does
to
change
Molly.
his look.
Yeah.
But like, regardless, I'm glad he did finally say something to Molly about, like, there was this guy. He was real sketchy. It was weird. He was
Yeah.
asking about Lester. Like, I'm so surprised he didn't say something sooner or recognize him or something. I'm glad they did redeem it in my mind because I was going to be upset if it never came up.
Yeah.
But they did redeem it
still
with
was-
him coming down to the station specifically to be like, there was a dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't tell you earlier. I should have. It was a hunch that I ignored and shouldn't have. And I'm like, you know what? That's fair. That's a
Yeah.
very fair statement of like, everyone's kind of jumpy right now. You don't
Yeah.
want to throw like every little hunch you've got into the wind. Like, you want to make sure it's something. But I'm glad that he did say something eventually.
It
But-
still was relatively quickly though, right? Because like
It was
it was
that night.
earlier that day, and then like that night is when Lester came in. He told Lester that somebody was asking about him, and then he goes to the police station that night after they find Lester's wife. Dead. You know, so
Wife number 2.
I mean, like it's still relatively quickly because like dude's working. You know,
Yeah.
he's manning
No, I
that
get it.
shop by himself. There's
No,
no
no.
other waiters. He runs it by himself, which is crazy.
He's
I
such a
like
legend.
that.
We're the
I
waiters.
love the I love the interaction that they had. It's just that was my only like little thing that nitpicked me with that scene.
Yeah.
Which-
I think that's fair.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
I want. sorry. Are you?
No,
done?
Trev,
no,
I was gonna say, do you guys have any lingering thoughts? Because I want to hear.
Yeah,
I've
have-
already come up with 2 more, but I don't want to talk right now. So
When Lester comes into the coffee shop, dude, him trying to cover his alibi like so hard is like so hard
So
to watch because
obvious.
he's like, dude, yeah. Well, it's obvious to us, like, man, he's really trying to dig deep.
It's
in that
obvious to
alibi.
Lou
Like,
as
I'm
well.
here.
I feel like.
Yeah, Lou's like, because he was a cop before, you know, he
Yeah.
talks about it a little bit. He's like, yeah, no, you said that already. He's like, you could tell. He's like, what the fuck's going on with Lester?
yeah, he does that a lot too, Lester. Like you see him like rehearsing things, like right before
Yeah.
Vern comes over, he's like opening the door with a shotgun. He's like, "What did you do?" You know, trying to pretend that Malvo
was-
killed his wife. It's just like
Such a bitch thing, dude.
he's the worst.
But he's very
plays-
squirrely. He's very
He
squirrely.
plays such a little bitch, and it's so. It's such a good performance, and you
But,
hate him so much.
Oh, also, I thought that he was going to try to sleep with his brother's wife.
So
When
did
she
I.
when she
Same.
came over for coffee and tea, I was like, because the way he kept looking at her, I was like, man, this, because it was right after the episode where he fucked his bully's wife.
Yeah.
I was like,
It was- he was
"This motherfucker's,
definitely
like,
thinking
getting
about
into it.
it.
He's a full douchebag right now. He's gonna try to sleep with everyone.
He was definitely thinking
I
about
have
it.
to. I almost have to think it was a plot point that they cut almost.
You think
Like,
so?
It feels like they were setting it up, like you said, like you thought
possible.
it was going to happen. It felt like they set it up
It
pretty
did
hard.
feel like it, yeah.
I think it may just be just a character beat. Like that's who he is now, and he like is confident enough or like cocky or arrogant
Yeah.
enough to believe that he can get away with these kind of things.
I mean, we see it later, right? When he goes to
Right.
try to basically sleep with a lady in Vegas because
Yeah.
he leaves his wife. He makes sure his wife goes to bed. And
Yeah.
then
What an
he
asshole.
goes to the bar for a nightcap.
Yeah.
And then he
then
like
witnesses
is
a
just
triple
continuing
homicide.
to look over. Yeah, then then unfortunately instead of getting laid by a mysterious Vegas lady, he he talks to Malvo instead.
Terrible.
Why wouldn't you just let it be? Just
So
don't go over to
dumb.
Malvo.
Go continue to be a human piece of garbage. Sleep
Yep.
with some woman. Go back to your wife. Continue to be an asshole. But I am glad he got caught. But whatever.
Oh, Trevor, can you tell me what kind of gun that was that they were shooting that his brother had in the gun case behind all the shotguns and stuff?
Yeah,
Behind all
I
the
think
rifles?
that was MG40, MG42.
And when they were shooting it in slow motion, was it accurate or
I didn't see any reason for it not to be. It is a
Okay.
belt fed.
does it check out IMFDB or?
I can check if you want me to.
I feel
Yeah,
like we
please
haven't
do.
played this bit in a little bit.
Yeah, there's not been a lot of gun talk recently. No guns in Cutting Edge. You know, we couldn't bring it up last week.
That's true. Yeah, no, the Russian guy didn't pull a gun on anyone.
Right? It's fucked up.
I'm pretty sure it was an MG42, which
Yeah, no.
I would love to
I mean, it's
own
all good.
personally, but I don't.
Oh.
Isn't
think-
that aren't those like a World War II antique? I thought it was like more like an M60, like an M249.
I could be wrong. I'm not even gonna lie. I very
MG42
well
is the
could
one
be.
in COD 5. I know that. World
Yeah.
War II. So if I know anything about guns,
it's oh wow, I've never even heard of this gun.
right on.
This is a Daewoo K3.
Excuse? That's not in fucking. That's not in.
Oh,
Call
it's
of
a
Duty,
stand-in
and
for an M249 saw.
Oh,
You know
I
that
called
gun,
it.
Will?
I was off.
yeah, it's in PUBG on the small maps. The thing rips.
Sick.
M249. I don't think that's a pre-ban, so I don't think. Yeah, I think it is an illegal own.
Oh,
There are certain
shit.
machine guns that are legal to own in the United States if they're
Trevor has all of
pre-ban. They have to be manufactured before a certain year. So like you can buy Uzis legally in the United States. They just cost a shit ton of money.
And Uzis are kind of tight.
You have to get special licensing as well, but you can legally own them. It's just
Interesting.
pre-ban. There's a minigun. Which one is it? It costs like you can legally own it as a citizen. It's just a straight up minigun, like multi-barrel, rotating the whole 9 yards.
Unnecessary.
Yeah, unnecessary. Trev, did you have any lingering thoughts before I circle back to my two final ones?
I do.
Rip
I have
'em, dude.
a thought that goes over the whole show as a whole,
Hit it.
which is the based on a true story statement at the beginning of every episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And the fact that that is not true at all.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
Fargo thing, my dude.
it's a.
I
that's a
didn't
easy
know that.
answer. Yeah,
I didn't know that. I looked it up after I finished because I was like, man, I'm really curious about this true story that it's based on. I'm like, there's no way that there was that many people who are just straight up idiots. Because like it feels like every other person that you meet in this show is either an asshole or an idiot or both.
Yeah, except Gus and Molly.
Except
Yeah, I was
Gus and
gonna say,
Molly,
there's some
and
wonderful
and
people.
Lou and stuff. But you know what I mean.
And
Like,
Vern.
it feels like and Vern. Regardless, I feel like you know what I mean.
Gus's daughter.
Yes.
Budge and
Regardless.
Budge and Pepper.
Yeah. Bully's two sons.
Yeah.
Yeah,
biggest idiots on Earth.
Yeah, Dad. They're so.
Those guys are
fucking
the
funny.
idiots. They're the. Like,
But yeah, no, that's a thing that is in the beginning of Fargo the movie, and
So I'm
it's
not
like
gonna
a classic
lie.
thing where it's like it's not true.
It's a joke.
it kind of
Yeah,
hurt
it's a
my.
true story.
It kind of hurt my overall opinion of the show.
What?
That's awesome.
I'm not.
I
I'm not
get
gonna
that.
lie. Once I found out, I felt betrayed because I was
I
like,
don't. I loved it. I loved that it said it before.
if it had told me
Yeah.
from the get go, it was just a story. It was just a story. It's a great story, but the fact that I felt lied to. Okay, I was not aware that Fargo is like that's a thing that they do where they're like this is
classic
based
boy
on,
who hasn't seen Fargo the movie.
I guess, but I felt like it
It's a
kind of hurt my
joke.
overall rating of the show. Like after
come on.
it did. I'm sorry. I was like, wow, some of the stuff,
It's fair.
some of the things I remember thinking while watching it. I was like, wow, this would be ridiculous if it wasn't based on a true story. Like a couple of like the coincidences and stuff. I'm
The
like,
fish raining
wow.
from the sky. You were still on board with that?
So they got
That's
you. Basically,
happened.
You got duped. So
I
you
got duped.
and you're mad.
I got duped and I'm salty about it. I'm not even gonna try and front. I got duped and I'm salty. Like the fish raining from the sky is ridiculous that it kills the bodyguard and the son, but
That scene was crazy.
it has happened. There are reports of this happening. Fish
Yeah.
and frogs and lizards
Yeah.
and all sorts of other stuff from tornadoes raining from the sky.
Yeah.
That's happened. That's a
Shout
known
out Magnolia.
phenomenon.
Shout out Magnolia.
Whatever.
Um,
So, but like that was my main thing was, I want to say if it didn't lie to me the whole time, I probably would have rated it at least a 9. But like
Fuck.
that's crazy.
the fact that
That's crazy to me.
I go
dude.
into it and I'm like, wow, I went through this whole thing.
It's a good joke. Come on.
It's not.
It is though.
It's hilarious because it got
I-
you. That sounds so funny.
Well, I'm salty and I'm fine with taking my 0.5 salt
That's fair.
point.
You know what? Take the salt point. all
That's
right? What was
fine.
the other point that you had? You had another point,
Like,
right?
Me, I didn't have another point.
Oh, I thought
Everyone,
you said you had two.
No, I have
that was
two.
about it. That was the thing I wanted to bring up. I even wrote down. I just realized in my notes that gun was an M249. Why did I? Whatever.
Two. Yeah, right. You wrote that down after you looked it up on IMFDB, dude. Your sponsor has been dropped. Officially dropped. Will is now wearing the merch. Will
Dude,
has
oh,
it on.
I can't read it. He got an M249,
Yeah.
4 exclamation points. Let's go.
He does have it. Okay,
right,
so the
fair,
merch is now
fair.
being back delivered to Storch Farms.
Yeah. We're sending
He's
it back.
got it there.
Yeah. But
Sending it
yeah,
back.
that's kind of
All right.
my final thoughts. Is I was upset. I'm salty about the lie.
Okay.
Cool.
I have two more, and I'm sorry we're dragging on. We're reaching like mad
Abby's gonna
villainy
be
levels. We're reaching two more. We'll
Don't
make
apologize.
it quick. There's
That's
just a
what
lot
people
to
are
talk
here
about,
for.
and I feel like there's so much we didn't even touch on. But two
There's
questions.
a lot we did. Yeah.
So first question: what was the point at which you felt the most anxious or stressed out? What was the most tense scene in the entire show for you? I would prefer that you keep it to one, but we can obviously we could spitball it. You know, we could brainstorm it together. I have a few that come to mind.
I'm gonna need some help because I think I did finish watching this first
Yeah,
out of all of us. So, gosh.
Yeah, I think
you
for
guys go
me,
ahead.
Just because it was also the most recent that I watched, because I watched it this morning, happen, was the confrontation between Lou and Malvo. Just because I really didn't want anything to happen to Lou.
yeah,
And I really thought that Malvo was just gonna kill him, because
Yeah.
like they also don't show that anyone else is in the diner.
yeah. You don't see it until
he
after
leaves,
Malvo
and
leaves.
you
yeah.
see the other shot looking the other way through the glass, and there is a guy in the back.
Which
But,
again
like,
is like it's
it
so
doesn't
intentional.
necessarily mean anything. Like,
No,
like
definitely not.
Malvo could have easily just killed both of them, but
Yeah.
like they just set it up so much to where like you just think he's gonna kill him, and
Yeah.
it would be such a fucking shame.
It'd
And
be
the other
terrible.
one that I could think of, I know you wanted to keep it to one, but the other that I could think of is like the whiteout, just because you don't know what is gonna happen. It's like, and everybody is colliding basically.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it's the whiteout is my first one for sure. I do think, despite the inevitability of what is happening, Glenn Howerton's death scene is just
Yeah.
like, it's maybe not even tense. It's just so devastating. It's just absolutely fucking horrible to watch, honestly.
It really is.
And then I think in the final episode, when Pepper and Budge are like out front of Lester's house, like standing guard, and Malvo
yeah.
pulls up.
Man, that sucks.
That one fucking, and then the ensuing like Malvo going into the house is all like incredibly fucking tense. And this will lead into my last point, which
I didn't find it actually. Sorry, I didn't actually find it that tense. Him going into the house, because I would have been happy if he killed Lester.
Yeah, that's
I was
fair.
like fucking after he killed the two FBI agents. I was like, that was my tense part of it. And then
Yeah.
after that, I was like, fucking kill Lester, dude.
Yeah.
He's gotten so many good people killed. He's such a bastard.
But the bear trap was amazing.
the bear trap was so good. So
I thought it
fucking good.
was. It surprised me because I didn't think he was gonna plant it there, and I didn't know
Yeah.
what the
Oh,
fuck he
really?
was doing when he was throwing.
The
clothes.
moment I saw him throwing the
I thought he was
clothes,
gonna
I was
put
like,
it
he put the bear
outside.
trap down. The moment I
Yeah.
saw the clothes being thrown.
Really?
That's
I totally thought it was going to be somewhere outside, and it surprised me. And I thought that was amazing. That little
Yeah.
scene between them when they're shooting at each other,
It's so good.
and like him getting stuck in the bear trap is like, holy shit! Someone just got Malvo. You
Yeah.
don't just
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
Malvo, you know?
No. And I love that Lester gets hit in the face with the trophy that he hit Malvo with in the
Yeah.
elevator. That's
Yeah,
great. He
that
breaks
was
his
good.
fucking
Dunked him
nose
with it.
again. Yeah. Trev, did you come up with any?
I did. I think my number one is every time we see Gus in the last one or two episodes at Malvo's like hidey house,
Yeah.
Yeah, the cabin.
especially when he comes back after the confrontation with Lester,
Yeah.
and he comes in, and you're like, is Gus still there? What's going on? What's happening? That I think was my number one
was
most tense
tense.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like some of the like the stuff with Lester trying to lie his way out of stuff was pretty tense for me. And then what you guys mentioned, like most of the
sure.
scenes you guys mentioned were really tense, obviously.
There was a
Yeah.
lot of tense moments. I mean, like, the show did it very well. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like some shows like really try to make shit tense and like kind of fall flat, but this show like did it so well. It was like movie level well.
There was a
Yeah.
bunch
My
of moments for me with Molly and Gus where like they would go off to do stuff, and I'm like, the most tense moments for me were right after they had happy moments with each other,
Yeah.
because I'm like, death flag, one of them's
Yeah.
gonna die. One of them is about to die, and then they didn't. But regardless, like every time they
I'm
had a
glad
happy,
they didn't.
every time anyone had a happy moment, I was like, one of those people's gonna die now.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that was where my tense stuff was from.
That family though was so wholesome, man. Molly
I
and
know.
Gus and the daughter, like holy shit.
Just watching Deal or No
They're
Deal,
just,
you know?
they're just like, it's such a happy life. Like,
They
fuck,
are.
dude's
They're
finally
so-
a mailman. Dude's finally a mailman, bro. You gotta feel happy for him. But I also fuck, what the fuck was I gonna mention? Shit, go on, Will. I think you had another tense moment, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I thought of one. I think it's more of like an honorable mention. I don't think it's actually one of the tensest moments, but it's also a kind of a side plot we haven't mentioned at all. When Malvo is sitting outside of Gus's house and Gus's neighbor knocks on the window and he's like, "Neighborhood watch."
Oh God!
And you just
Oh,
think that he's
yeah.
gonna get fucking murdered.
Very
you know?
tense. Yeah.
Fuck,
And
that
I
one
mean,
was
and also
ridiculous.
like Malvo at the post office, like that. It isn't really tense. It's just popped up
It was
in my head.
tense. I thought it was
That's
tense
He's
an
like-
too.
interesting moment. For
The
sure.
Duluth, he's like, it's addressed to Duluth, and he's like, well, Duluth's a city, sir. Like, what's your name?
Yeah.
And he's like, Duluth. That's like a very Anton Chigurh moment, like flip a coin type shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then off of that, the two things I want to mention was what I was trying to remember was that the time skip felt like it should have been longer, right? It was only a year, but like so
Yeah.
much happened.
A lot
Like
happened
multiple
in that
couples
1
got
year.
married somehow. Molly's already pregnant. Like
Yeah.
it's just like it's so much happens.
They had
like,
a- they had a
Malvo
honey-
gets married somehow, and then so does Molly and Gus. It's just
Well,
like
Malvo's engaged.
and
to be
Yeah,
and
he's
so
engaged.
Does, he's engaged. Sorry, but still. And then Lester is also married. Like,
Yeah.
it's like holy shit. How is that a
Well,
year?
the
I
seed-
actually went. I rewinded the episode. I was like, did I fucking read that wrong? Is it only 1 year? And I rewinded after I finished the episode. I rewinded all the way back to the middle of the episode where it said 1 year, and I was like, holy shit, it did say 1 year. Okay, I was right.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's a little much, but I guess
Should've been
Molly
longer,
and
in my
Gus
opinion.
had a honeymoon baby.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, not even, because, like, I mean, she's got to be, like, 7 or 8 months pregnant. Like, she's got to
Yeah.
she's very pregnant.
I mean, if they got married, like it's a whole year. That's 12 months. So
what, they get
They
married?
got married pretty
fucking
fast.
3 months after they hung out?
maybe
It's
they're
just
I
like-
mean, they're
both
perfect for
older
each other.
people,
Yeah.
And
I mean, they are, but, like, who does that?
they did,
Yeah.
I guess.
Fuck, now I gotta get married. Abby!
I have one more thing I want to mention, unless we have more tense moments we're talking about.
No, I don't think so.
Well, the only other thing I wanted to mention, too, was that going off of what you mentioned with the neighborhood watch guy, because I forgot about that, was that really bizarre to me. They saw each other in the window at like late at night, and then he just like came over with milk.
That was weird.
They just drank milk together at night. It made it feel like a dream sequence. I was like, is this a fucking dream he's having? And then the guy's legit real, and it's just a thing that happened.
Yeah.
He could
And also
sense
his wife like flashes Gus with her lingerie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just
also
weird,
weird.
you know?
Forgot about that too. Weird.
Yeah.
Really weird scenarios.
Very strange.
What was your thing,
Yeah.
Trev?
Something that I really appreciate that happened that a lot of shows will sometimes overlook is Molly got her recognition that she deserves.
Yeah.
In the form of when Key and Peele show up and are looking at her board, and Bill comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I'm sorry, don't look at this. And they're like, no, you're an idiot. This
Yeah.
is genius.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
They're like, she's a brilliant detective.
I just
Yeah.
felt so much euphoria in my
too.
in my chest. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
I love moments like that where people get
Yeah.
their vindication and the proof comes out that no, they're correct. I loved that moment so much. I can't
agree.
believe I just saw it in my notes and I was like, fuck yeah, that moment was so good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, they're great.
sorry. Okay, I had to bring that one up. I love that
No,
moment so much.
I'm glad you did. All right. I think we should end
We
with-
have to for Abby's
Yeah,
sake.
we're getting too long.
just a yes or no. Did you think Malvo's death was satisfying?
Yes.
Yeah, it was more satisfying than Lester's.
Okay.
I thought both were satisfying.
I'll leave it at that because
Um,
it could have been better, but I think Gus getting the kill was very good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So-
Agree.
I feel like I just gotta say, like, this is one of the best things that has been shown on this podcast so far. And like, man, if you guys listen to this whole episode without watching the series, that's really unfortunate.
You
but,
screwed yourself.
Yeah, you fucked up.
but goddamn, please.
But thank you for listening.
Go watch.
Please
this
rate
show.
us. Give us 5 stars.
Please go watch the show. It was fantastic. I wish I had watched it earlier. I just loved it, and I couldn't recommend it to people more. Yeah, I mean, you really hit it out of the park, Will. You really fucking
This
killed
was a
it.
good one. This was
Our
a really
feud
good
has officially has ended / been delayed until the next time I show a horror movie.
Hell yeah, that sounds amazing. Yeah, I had to come back strong. Cool.
Next
Well,
week,
I'm
you
glad
did
you both
great.
enjoyed it.
It's great. Looking forward to Trevor's pick next week.
one. You guys could probably guess at least what genre.
Oh my goodness. All right.
But yeah,
cool.
had a great
Alright.
time finally talking to you guys about it. Had an excellent time.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you both. Glad you
Alright.
enjoyed it. As always, thank you for listening to the Show Me Something podcast. Hope y'all stay safe. Wear a mask. See y'all soon.
Bye.
Peace.